What's going on, everybody? What's going on? We got another live stream going. The reason why I'm doing a live stream is, um, well, like I said before, 100 Days of Hustle, and I plan on putting out video every single day. And if I don't have time to record something, then I'm just going to do a live stream because it's actually a little bit easier in some ways. It's a little bit easier. But what's going on, everybody? Thanks for stopping by the live stream today. I'm going to be learning how to pass data between screens in Flutter. Um, as you will notice, this is a perfect opportunity. Like when I can't come up with a video for you guys because I don't have the time. And the reason why I didn't have the time today was because we were celebrating my son's birthday, and we had a party, and literally the last person just left like 20 minutes ago. So I was like, all right, came back inside, sat down with the wife for like a second, and then I came out here and started getting ready. Or I was like, I have to go outside after work. This is what I have to do. So I came out here, and yeah, we are going to be uh, doing some coding in Flutter. Uh, oh well, let me represent y'all in the chat because I see you guys in the chat over here. Let me just give you guys a little shout out right now. All right. But yeah, thanks for joining the stream. You know I do it for you guys. Let's make it a little bit bigger so it can be red. All right. So Gabriel says, "Dude, get some rest. Damn it, so sexy." Thanks. Apparently you know that I've been grinding and hustling and trying to do the most. Thanks, Gabriel. And yeah, I'm going to get some rest after this. Hopefully, it won't be too long of a live stream. I think that passing data, I already looked it up. It shouldn't be too crazy hard, but that's what I thought about the networking, and that turned into a 3 hour live stream. So, um, Manan says, "What's up, Rami?" It says, "Hello." Manan Rami says, "What's up?" Or he says, "Hello, Loco," and I'm saying, "What's up?" right back at you, man. And then, dude, do you have any Latino inheritance? Yes, I'm actually half. Well, I'm half Hispanic, so I'm actually a quarter Mexican and a quarter Colombian, and then I'm half black. So that's why I look like this. uh, are you switching to Flutter from Swift? No. I'm learning. Well, I'm going to talk about this in a video. I've been thinking about doing a video for this on switching between, native to cross-platform. But the overall answer is no, I don't think so. Not right now. It may happen sometime in the future, but I don't really think that's going to be something that I really do because Swift is still the best language for me. In my personal opinion, Swift is the best language. It's like the most beautiful language. It has the best community behind it. And it runs it's 100% native, built by Apple, and it's going to be probably the best decision for Apple moving forward. So overall, I don't see myself switching from Swift to anything else, but over these next 200 days, you're going to see that I'm going to be learning Flutter. I'm going to be learning React Native. I'm going to be learning Flutter, React Native, Kotlin, and I'm not sure what the fourth one I want to make it. I'm thinking about doing Ionic, but I'm not 100% sure about that. But there's gonna be four more languages/frameworks that I learn that will allow me to be a cross-platform developer because I really want to get more knowledge about mobile development. I just want to have as much knowledge about mobile development as possible because for anybody that is familiar with what I've been going through lately, I'm trying to set myself up to be in a situation to where I can be on YouTube and be making courses for you guys more often. And I just want to essentially be able to make courses in all the different areas. And I want to be able to say, like, I can help anybody become a mobile developer no matter what they want to learn. So I want to put out courses for Flutter. I want to put out courses for Kotlin and React Native and Swift and whatever else that you can make mobile development on. And I'm gonna try not to be biased, but I honestly think I'm probably gonna just my number one's probably gonna be Swift. But I don't want the content to be biased. So I want to put it out there because overall it comes down to what your preference is. And if that's what you want, then I want to be able to provide that for you. And it can't hurt to know like all these different things and have more knowledge. And it's fun for me. It's fun for me to learn new languages. Like, this is something that you don't have to do. I'm doing this because I enjoy doing it. And I think that there's a lot of people out there that also enjoy doing it. And when I made the video about Flutter 1.5, that was actually one of the highest hitting videos that I've ever made. And it really opened up my mind to know, like, it really expanded my view on how big of a community is out there if you're not limited to just one language, if you're not just going to be a purist. So overall, do you need to know multiple languages and frameworks? And is Swift going to die? No, it's not. But I want to essentially be part of multiple communities and have as many friends and be able to talk about all these different things as much as I possibly can, because I enjoy it. I really do enjoy it. I enjoy mobile development, not so much web development, at least not right now. That might change in the future, but overall, I just want to know everything there is to know about mobile development because I find it so fascinating. But who knows? Maybe down the future, I'm like, no, I don't want to do mobile development. I want to do game development. And then you're going to see me like learn something like C# or something like that. So, yeah. I asked because your pronunciation of loco sounds nice, just like someone who has Latino inheritance. So, I'm a pure American. And what I mean by that is I grew up in the LA area, so I speak like anybody would speak in Hollywood. I do have tios and tias and primos and all that other stuff, but I don't speak Spanish fluently. By the way, I'm Mexican. Nice. Represent, man. But living in GA. So cheers from Duluth, Georgia. I'm learning Kotlin as well. Not sure how good is for cross-platform, but I'm doing my learning because I want to be iOS and Android dev. All right, yeah, that's a great point. A great reason to learn something that's cross-platform is if you want to do something like contracting or freelancing, and you're not living in an area where let me see how to say this. If you're gonna do contracting and you're gonna do it by yourself, where you're the only person that's coming into contact with the client, chances are you're going to need to build an Android app too, and that's when it kind of gets tricky for freelancers. So it makes sense to be able to do to be able to make an iOS app, an Android app. Doesn't matter how you do that, but it makes sense to be able to do both when you're doing freelancing if you're not in a situation where there's going to be a separate Android developer, because there's more opportunities, but you have to keep in mind that somebody that wants to pay somebody to just build one app, like 2 apps for one code base, they probably have lower income. So with this mindset, you're kind of working for volume as opposed to hitting with the higher price points. So just keep that in mind when you do freelancing. If you do freelancing and you're working with super small clients like individuals or very small businesses, cross-platform development skills are going to be very handy. Whereas if you're going to be working with a small or a medium-sized company, maybe even a small company with a lot of money, or definitely a large company, uh, you'll only need to know like one or the other, and most likely just know it native. And that's when you don't really have to worry about cross platform. So yeah. Am I not speaking loud enough? I think if the volume's not high enough, let me know, guys. But it shows that I'm speaking loud enough. What's going on, Sahand? Guys, if you guys live anywhere that's outside, if you guys have a name that isn't an American name, I always apologize because I'm just gonna be really bad at pronouncing your name. But Sahand Rizy, what's going on? Yeah. So Mohammed, I think that the volume's all right. Try turning up your speakers, but if it really is too low, then let me know. How do you think it's the end for Apple? How do you think? Apple's not going anywhere for at least 10 years. It's going to take a lot to take down Apple, as big as they are. They're not going anywhere. And they have their hands in so many different things. It's really going to be hard for anything to replace Apple. It doesn't matter where you're, where you think, whatever you're thinking is probably wrong, because Apple's not going anywhere. Not in 10 years. So for example, if you have a contract with Swift, another with Java and Kotlin, or Java/Kotlin, and then if you come with another project where you need to create both iOS and Android app, then we should think on learning whatever it needs to knock the three cases. I don't fully. Then another project where you need to create both iOS and Android app. Well, keep in mind that sometimes the client will have a demand. Like sometimes you'll get a client where they think that they know what they want, but sometimes they don't really know what they want. And that's when you have to be a professional and kind of explain the benefits of what these different things are. But overall, knowing more just helps your opportunities when it comes to something like freelancing. If you're working with smaller clients, and a lot of the time, I hear from my students that it's hard to get a job, but you have to keep in mind that there's a lot of people out there looking to hire a developer. There's a lot of people out there looking to have their app made, but there's not a whole lot of people out there that understand how expensive it is to get an app made. There's even less people that understand that you have to have different code for the two different platforms. And when you come across somebody, they may expect you to build an app. Like if you only know Swift, they may expect you to be building an app, and that app would automatically work for Android, but you have to communicate that that's not how it necessarily works. So if you have some of these tools some of these tools in your skill set to be able to create apps from, maybe one code base, or you really just prefer to just do everything native where you're doing two separate code bases, that's absolutely fine. It really comes down to what you think the best decision is as a professional. And you have to communicate that to the client, because if they want apps on two different platforms, you might actually be able to charge them more. Or you might be able to just convince them to stay on one platform because it makes sense for them to only be on one platform when they start off. Like if you want to say, like if you only know Swift, you could say, you know what, I only know Swift. Or you could be like, you know what, I can't do Android, but it makes sense for you to start off with iOS because that's where the majority of the paying customers are at. And that's a widely known fact that Apple customers are higher paying than Android customers, right? But if you only know something like Kotlin or Java, then you can say something like, well, it makes sense to go with Kotlin or Java or it makes sense to go with the Android app first, because you want to be able to distribute this to more people, because Android, it has a larger market share. And then you could also say things like, when you make the app for iOS, you can perfect some of these things, and you could get all the bugs worked out while it's still on Android. And then when it launches to the higher paying client base, which is the Apple customers, then you can really have everything more refined. So there's arguments that work on both sides. And if you only know one language, you can still get the contract. You just have to be smart about how you go about communicating that to the client, and you might still be able to move forward. Now, sometimes that argument won't always get you the position, but in my experience, that has worked out pretty well. Okay, let's see. Raul Pahuja says, "Hey, Kilo Loco, love you, bud. You had helped me a lot when it comes to solving iOS problems. I'm glad that I was able to help. That's what I'm here for, guys. I'm always here to help. And don't take it that I'm learning these new like languages or frameworks as like I'm trying to get away from you guys, like the Swift community or whatever. It's just I'm trying to improve my general knowledge, and I want to be able to help more people. It makes me feel good to be able to help people, because when I learned to code, it literally changed my life. It flipped it upside down and made everything so much better. I have a little bit more stress now, especially because now I'm able to start moving towards building this business that I'm working on, the membership and stuff like that. But it's a great situation to be in, and I'm really grateful, and I want to help more people out there, because when I was going to my dead end job, I literally felt like I had cancer in my chest, and it was tough. It was really tough. It was I don't wish that on anybody, to have to go to work like that and have to feel that type of pain and struggle. All right. Hello from UK. Love your work. Thank Etsme. Thanks, man, or woman, or buddy. Thanks, buddy. uh, then make some donation. If you want to make it, I mean, I only want to take your money if it makes sense for you. And if it makes sense for you, then check out the membership. I feel like I provide good value along with the courses that I have on there. I feel like there's a lot of value in the courses that I have, as well as having a Slack invite, so having direct access to me. That I feel like that's also kind of valuable to have, to be able to communicate with somebody that has a lot more experience, or potentially a lot more experience than you, because I don't know where you're coming from, right? Like you might have been doing this for 10 years, and maybe you do know more than me. But yeah, like, so if I do provide value, and you see value in the courses, and you think that having direct access to me on Slack would speed up your development process, or just provide more value to you, then check out the membership. It's only $8 a month. I try to make it as affordable as possible, and I try to bring you as much value as possible. What's up, Mr. Guru? Which programming language do you like more, Kilo? I always want to know that. Swift is my number one. It's the most beautiful language, and it literally makes the most sense. Like, there's no extra ridiculous syntax really until you like kind of get to closures. Then it gets a little bit weird and wonky. But other than that, the Swift language is the cleanest programming language I've ever seen. You think about Apple warmed my. I think you're saying you're saying the way that I think about Apple warmed your heart. So I'm glad that I was able to warm your heart. Yeah, Apple's not going anywhere. Swift isn't going anywhere. You guys are gonna be safe. Don't worry. Hi, Kilo. Nice to see you. Doctoran. Nice to see you too. Um, it's Raisi. Raisi, by the way. Oh, sorry, bad pronunciation. But nice to talk to you, Raisi. How is it going? 100 Days of Hustle. It's kicking my ass. 100 Days of Hustle is kicking my ass. It's midnight here. I just had a long day. Like, I started off today having a mentoring session with somebody, and then immediately after that mentoring session, I was running around because we're celebrating my son's second birthday, and then I have to come out here and I have to do a video because I'm supposed to be releasing a video every day, and I'm actually behind. There's a couple of days that I need to do a double upload or a upload in a live stream, but I just haven't had the time because my weekends have been taken with other stuff, and my Wednesdays are when I'm supposed to be able to do other stuff too. But we've been doing stuff on my Wednesdays too, and I just haven't had the chance to really do anything. Like, I haven't had the chance to do the double uploads, but it's coming along nicely. The fact that I already have another app out in the App Store, the fact that I have released the course on my membership site, it's going pretty good. I'm a little bit behind on a couple of areas, but I'm a little bit ahead on other areas. Hi from Ukraine. What's going on, Andriy? Any advice on how could I find an iOS mentor? Well, I mean, you're looking at one. I do offer mentoring. So if you want, you can always reach out to me. But if you don't want me, because Kilo Loco is a little bit silly, then what you could do is you can probably find somebody on Twitter. You just gotta be smart with the way that you kind of approach somebody. But there's a lot of different chat rooms that people put together for some other people. Like, there's a lot of different Swift communities that you can go into, or coding communities that you could go into, and then you can kind of ask questions. And then maybe if you start working with somebody that you like, then what you can do is you can, present it to them as an option of them being your mentor. But just keep in mind that people do have lives, and I would say that people that are dedicated to coding, like learning code and being enthusiastic and passionate about code, is not going to be as I don't think it'll be as high as you think. So there might not be as many people out there that are willing to offer mentoring or coding or something like that on the side, because for a lot of people it's just a job, and then for some people it's a hobby, but they don't like to teach, or they don't know how to teach. So just keep in mind that when it comes to mentoring, that it is going to be just, you gotta find somebody and just click with that person, and then maybe you want to ask them. I don't think you should go around just asking just anybody, because I don't think you'll have good feedback if you do it that way. Well, happy birthday to him. Wish him health and luck. Thank you so much. Thank you, my little boy. Thank you. Appreciate that. I need some mentoring for my app that I'm building with Flutter and Firestore. I don't know Firestore. That was actually the idea that I had to do for tonight, but I wanted to keep the live stream kind of short. So I don't know that yet, but I plan on learning that. That's probably going to be in the next live stream that I do like this, where I am going to start learning Firestore and Flutter. And then soon I'm actually going to start putting, I'm going to start doing videos on YouTube. I have to figure out a schedule because right now I'm just uploading different types of content and I'm seeing how everything performs. But there's going to be a set day for Swift tutorials, and then there's going to be a set day for Flutter tutorials. And I'm thinking about doing like Friday and Saturday or whatever, like Flutter Friday, Swift Saturday or something like that. But I will start uploading tutorials on how to do some of this stuff. I just need to come up with a schedule. And like I said, I've kind of been a little bit backlogged. But if you make sure that if you want to, just make sure that you're subscribed, and then turn on the bell notification, so that you know whenever I release a video, because the Flutter and Firestore video is probably gonna come very soon when I start to learn it. The learning video, where it's just like, you guys come along with me and I figure out how stuff works, and get to see me get frustrated and things like that. But yeah. Okay, thank you. How to learn writing clean code. Um, well, a good way in Flutter and Dart. So I'm currently working on that. What you're gonna see right now is my attempt to write clean code. Dart is one of the ugliest languages that I've seen. Well, no, I shouldn't say that, but it's an extremely ugly language, especially with all this nesting that goes on. So you definitely want to learn how to write clean code. The sooner the better, and that's what I'm about to attempt right now. So I've been talking a little bit long. I didn't think that I would get this many questions. Like, I usually don't get this many people talking to me, which I love it. I would love to get more questions and more live streams that are like this, but it doesn't usually happen. So I wasn't expecting to talk to this long. But anyway, let's switch over to coding. And what we're gonna do, hold on, let me get this. Let's get this YouTube chat going. Hey, you're not more important than me. What are you doing? What are you doing? Like so. All right. So I'm going to attempt to write clean code. Keep in mind that I'm still new to Flutter. I'm still learning it. But I'm going to attempt to write some clean code, and maybe you can get some ideas about how to do that. So what I'm going to do is, let's start off by opening up VS Code. And it's actually already open. Voila. Voila. Alrighty. So we need this bad boy. And let me know if the sizing is alright. Are you guys able to read this or not? We're gonna do a new project. Hold on. New file. Oh, well, actually not. This isn't how we want to do that. Well, I could probably just, no, because I want to have the emulator over here. So let's change directory, and then we're gonna do code research, change directory to desktop, code research, and then I think I have a Flutter. Nope. So I'll just put it in here. So we'll do Flutter new. I'm not sure if it's new or create. I always forget. And then we're gonna do passing data. So it's create. I always get them confused. Alrighty. 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 Alright. 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 Alrighty. Alrighty. Alright. Oh. Alright. Ready. Right. Connected device is not available. That's fine. I'm going to open that up soon anyway. And then what we need to do is open the simulator. And we're going to be using... So, if you were here the other day when I was doing the live stream, I was learning how to do a networking request, and I'm about to actually use that code as a reference if it wants to work. Hold on. Did it work? Okay. Yeah, I'm about to use that code as a reference so I can hopefully move a little bit faster. I'm going to try to do what I can from scratch, but we'll see how that goes. And actually, what we want to do is probably do something like this. All right. And then we're going to make sure we're going to... Well, now we need to open this thing, right? We'll just do open the current directory in Visual. Oh no, this isn't going to work the right way that I want it to. So I'm going to do it this way. Desktop and passing data. Alrighty. Alright, lib main, and let's get rid of the caca. And you know your boy likes purple. And we're gonna just call this users. And let's see. Title. We don't need increment counter or counter. And we don't need this. Right. And what is this? What are you doing? All right. So we got the scaffold. Alrighty. And let me see. We're gonna have that app bar, and that's gonna be an app bar. Has a title, and that's gonna be a text widget, and that's gonna be widget dot title, like so. All right, so we have this. Let's go ahead and save it and run it. And here we go. Here we go. So my plan is to do a networking request, and then I want to be able to essentially show that data in a list view, and then go to the next screen with that specific user's data. So that's the goal. All right, looking good so far. All right, so first things first, we need to get the users. And this is going to be a list of users, right? No, it's a future list of users because we're going to be using async. Future list of users. And we don't have a user class, so we're going to have to make that. But get users. And this is async. And what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to import a couple of different things. We want to import async. So async. We want to import that. I know that we need to import HTTP, right? Oh no, actually we need to do the package for HTTP. So we need to go over to the YAML file and let me see, dependencies, and this one's gonna be HTTP colon, and let me grab it from my other file because that one has latest. So we're going to be using the latest. Buenas noches, Kilo. ¿Cómo estás? I'm doing pretty good, man. ¿Y tú, man? ¿Y tú? ¿Cómo estás? ¿Qué tal? See, I know a little bit of Spanish. Just a little. And then, okay, so then what we're going to do, did this do it? Packages get running. Yes, it did. So then we want to do gonna do that HTTP, and I want to say it's this one. Let me double check. HTTP.dart, that's correct. And then we want to cast this as HTTP so that we can reference it. And then what else are we going to need in here? Let's see. Oh, we're going to need convert. Yeah, we're going to need convert. So import convert, and that's going to allow us to change our object into JSON, I believe. So we got this. I want to save that. Now what we want to do is, like I said, we're going to need a user object, and we're going to try to keep this clean. So we're going to create a user file. So user.dart, and this is going to be a class called user, and it's going to have some properties on it. So it's going to have an integer ID. It's going to have a name, which is a string. I forgot. I think it is capital. String ID name, like that. And then we want the age, which is also an int, like that. Now let me double check my other user class and make sure I'm doing it right so far. Yes, this is correct, but we want to set these as final. So mark them with final. And right now we're going to get errors because we're not actually setting these values. So we're essentially saying it's going to always be ID, but we don't have an initializer. So what we need to do is we need to create an initializer, and we do that like this. And since we're using named arguments, what we want to do is we want to say this dot ID, or no, not named arguments, but I forgot. I think because this is initializer, we have to use the curly braces. That's what it is. So this dot name and this dot age. So now we have a user object, and that semicolon. So this is our user object, but we want to be able to create a user object from so this is an initializer, and this essentially makes it so that we can create a user. But what we actually want to do is we want to create a user object from the response that we're getting back. Excelente, Anthony says. That's good to hear, man. So what we need to do is we need to create a factory. And I want to read up on the factory. Hold on. Let's finish this up. So factory, and we're going to say user dot, and we're just going to make up a new one called from JSON, and we're going to get a dictionary or a map, And this is going to this is going to essentially take in JSON, right? And JSON is always in the form of having a string key, but we don't necessarily know what is going to be the value of that key. So then we put dynamic, and then we got to give this a name, the argument a name. So we're going to just call it JSON. And what we're going to do is we're going to use our initializer up here to return a new user object, and we're just going to do that like this. So we can say ID is going to be we're bringing in the JSON, and we need to decode the JSON key for the word ID. And we just want to do the same thing with each of these. So JSON name, and then we also want to do age. So age JSON age, like so. So that should give us a user object, and then remember that we need to finish it off with semicolons. Now I'm still having trouble finding out where we need to put the semicolons, but luckily Visual Studio Code is so good, it will actually let you know, hey, you're missing a semicolon. So that is one good thing, but I don't know the logic. Oh, whoa. It's too much. All right, so now what we want to do is we want to save this. Okay, so now we have a user object. We just need to make sure that we're importing our files. So we're going to say import user.dart. Make sure you finish that off. And now we have access to our user object. So now in here, what we need to do is this is where we're actually going to do our request. So let me look at my code. I still don't have it memorized quite yet, but that's okay. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to get a response, and this is just going to be response like this because we're not going to be changing it, and we're going to await for it because it's an asynchronous call, and we're going to we're going to use our package, whatever we called it up right here, I believe. And since we called it HTTP, we're going to do http.get. And then this is when we're going to pass in our URL, and we also need to finish it off with a semicolon. So my URL is https://kiloloco.com/API/users. And what that'll do is it's going to give us an array back for our users. So since the response that we're getting back is going to be an array, what we need to do is we need to loop through this array. Let me think. JSON.decode. Oh, but first what we need to do is we need to turn this array into JSON. So what we can do is we can say final JSON is equal to, and we're going to do JSON.decode, and what we're going to do, JSON.decode. Oh, maybe we probably shouldn't call it JSON. We could call this user's JSON, or user's response. There we go. Decode. And what we're going to decode is our response dot body, because that's where the data actually comes in. So now with this user's response, what we want to do is we want to, so keep in mind that this is decoded into JSON now. It's not just data. We're working with the JSON itself at this point, and our JSON is going to actually be an array. So what we need to do is we need to we need to loop through this JSON array and create users from it. So what we'll do is we're going to create a list of users. And this is actually going to be an empty list at first. And then what we'll do is we're going to do users response dot for each. I don't think we can do that because it's not a defined array. That's okay. We'll do a for loop. So let me try to do this myself. So for var I equals 0, I less than, let me see, users response dot length. And I plus plus, something like that. Oh, these are supposed to be separated with semicolons. That's my fault. There we go. So this is our for loop, and what we're going to do is we're just going to create users from our response. So not let, silly Kyle. Well, we'll just do users dot add, and from here we're going to do users response, and then we're going to pass in I. And that should make a user. No, hold on. That's not going to work. That shouldn't. This would technically work, but that's not. It's going to crash. It's going to be a runtime error. So actually, we need to convert this to a user. So I'm going to say user is equal to user dot. Let me see. I think I can make this a constant. So final user dot from JSON, and we're gonna pass in our user's response, and we're gonna pass in I. We're gonna do that, and then we're gonna say users dot add user, like so. I think that's how I did it. Yes, that's how I did it. And then after we loop through, what we're going to do is we're just going to return users. So this is essentially the function that's going to do the calling to the internet, and then we're going to get our users back. All right, so now we want to just make sure that we're going to call this this function. So let's do init state, and we're going to just call get users. And then when we restart the app, we should actually, oh, well, it's not going to print. Let me see. Print user.name. And let's restart this one more time. And the debug console. All right, so as you can see, we're getting this data back, which is pretty good. This was what I was struggling with the entire time last live stream. So we're getting the data back, which is pretty good. Now what we want to do is we want to create a list view that's going to take in a user and then present that data. So what we want to do is we're going to go back over to our files, and let me see. We want to create a user list tile. So let's go ahead and create a new file, user list tile .dart, and we're going to import material.dart, and this is going to be a widget. Let me think about, hold on. Let me see how I did it before. Yeah. Yeah, a widget. I don't know if this is the best way to do it, actually. Let's see. Class. This will be an experiment. So now we want to have a user list tile, and this would extend list tile. And then we would do build. And what we would want to do is we wouldn't want to return the super.build context. We would want to do super.build context dot copy. Let's see. Okay, so let's look this up real quick, because I want to know what the best way to do it is. New window, and we want to Flutter subclass a widget. Subclass a widget. That doesn't have anything. Subclassing that extends. In Flutter, composition is preferred over inheritance. So, providing a large number of parameters, Flutter embraces composition. Widgets are built. This means that extends a widget. You should create a smaller one, then reuse it. Okie dokie. So, let me think. Then reused using composition to create a more specific type of button. Outline button. Okay. Okay, so with that in mind, we would want to do, we don't want to have inheritance. We want to extend stateless widget, right? And what they're saying is to create that button. Yeah. So let's see. So we would do, essentially we'd create a user list tile initializer. Let's get rid of this real quick. User list tile. And actually we back off. And we would need to import users. So we're going to import user.dart like so. And then we'll have a user, which is going to be a private user. I don't think we need to have access to that. Yeah, private user. And then we'll say this dot user. And this is actually supposed to be in the curly braces. This dot user. It's underscore user, and that's why it's giving me the error. And that. And we also need to include the key and then set the super key. This dot key. No, it's key. Sorry. Key. Do you love me? Are you riding? Something up beside me. Super. I still don't understand what this is either, so I gotta look that up. And I did look it up. That's the crazy thing. I looked it up and I still don't get what it actually is. So, named optional parameter can't start with an underscore. Named optional parameter can't start with an underscore. Okay, sure. Alrighty. And then we would want to do an override on the build context. So we're going to build context, yo ass, back off. And what we'll do is we're going to return a list tile. So what they're doing is, yeah. And you are my button. Yeah, okay. So from there, this is how you would do it. So you would do list tile, and then you would just do all the different things that you want to do to it from here. Okay. Okay. So then what do we want to do to the list tile? So we want to have it leading, a leading icon. So it's going to have an icon, and that's going to take icons, and we're going to do avatar. Is it avatar? Profile? User? I forgot what it was. Oh, it's an account. There we go. Account, and then the body, or no, what is it? The title is going to be a text widget, which we're going to just pass in. Let's see. The data for it is going to be user.name, and then the trailing is going to be another icon, and this is going to be icons. Icons, and this is going to be a chevron, right? Like that. So that's going to actually be pretty good. So now that we have this user list tile, this is a lot. This is one of the better practices, because now what we're doing is this class is marked as immutable, but one or more are not final. Oh, my bad. Yeah, so this is better practice for sure, because what we're doing is we're taking out this code that we would normally be putting into our actual like main area, and then we would also be able to reuse this user list tile. So this is pretty good practice. I know that has to be the case, because that's how we do it on iOS with Swift. So then what we would want to do is import the user list tile, and then we can start using that to display data. So first things first, we need to do a body, and then I believe that we have to do a container first. I believe that we would need to pass in a user. So oh, you know what? We don't want to do this list view. We want to do a future builder. That's what we want to do. And the future builder takes in a context, right? Future builder takes in, it takes in a future, and it takes in a builder. So the future, this is how we're going to asynchronous, like how we're going to deal with asynchronous data. So the future is actually something that needs to be coming back as a future. So this is what our get users is. It's a future. So we're going to do get users is our future, and then our builder, as you can see, it's going to return a context and a snapshot of list users. So we're going to say context, and a snapshot, and I think this is just going to be a user. We'll see how it goes. Snapshot. I think this is going to be users list. Just call this users list. And like so. Okay, so now, yeah, this is our snapshot. And I'm going to have to reference my other code because I need to double check. But overall, I think that we just create, I think we create another container and then we put, no, we have to return. So we have to return, we would return a user tile or user list tile, right? And the and we could just pass in a user like so, but that's not actually what we would want to do. There's all kinds of fucking flying ants in here. I don't know what's going on. This isn't what we would actually want. We would want, hold on. We would want to create a list view. Return a list view, and that's going to have a builder. That's what I was thinking. So the list view is going to have a builder, and let me see. Okay, let me get back to the code so I can see how I did this one more time. And we want to specify the item count and the item builder. Okay, so item count is going to be this. We're going to call this snapshot. So snapshot dot data dot length. So that's how many items are going to be in there. And then we have an item builder as well. And this is going to be a function like this. And we need to pass in a context. And this would be an index. Right? Right. Believe I'm doing it right. All right, and then the only other problem that we're going to have is if snapshot dot data or snapshot dot has data, then we're going to do this. Let me see. Not sure why it's getting kind of weird. Hold on. This should work, right? Return. There we go. No, did I do that wrong? Where is this builder? And this goes right here. Else return circular progress indicator, like so. So that will give us a loading screen. And then in here, this is where we're going to want to actually return our list user tile, or our user list tile. And then we're going to say snapshot dot data, and then we're going to pass in the index. Data dot in snapshot data, yeah, index. And I think we have to say user. I think it's a named argument. That's why. Yeah, user snapshot named data index. All right, so let's go ahead and see what happens if I save this. Oh, see? Look at that. Bam. Love it. Okay, so now we have this. So we're making progress. Also, we want to have an action. So we're going to have, let's see. We would need to wrap this into a gesture recognizer. So we're going to wrap in a new widget, and this is going to be a gesture detector. And we're going to say on pressed or on tap that we're going to do something. So what we would need is we would need a final, and then a final, what is it, dynamic? I don't even know how to do this. A final. Let's see. Dynamic. And then action. Let me see if I could do it like this. Let's see. How would I make a closure? Flutter closure as argument. Oh, it'd be of type function. Let me see. If that's the case, then this dot action, and then we would just say action. Bam, like that. Alrighty, and what we need to do is we'll break this down a little bit. All right, so we need to give it an action. Actually, yeah, let's do it down here. Action. And this needs to be having a comma like that. And when we did tap on it, what we want to do is we want to go to the next screen. So print go to next screen. For, and then we'll say for, let's just make this user. So this is going to be a user, and this is going to be equal to snapshot dot data and then index. And we'll say user dot name. So now when I tap on it, go to next screen for Kyle, for Xavier, Andrew, Adriana, Maya. Cool. Making progress. Making it progress. I like it. I like it a lot. So now what we would need to do is we would need to go to the next screen, and this is where we need to actually figure it out. So Flutter passing data to screen. Send data to a new screen. All right, so we have the object. Generate list. So we want to have a details screen. So what we can do is let's do this in a new screen or in a new file, because we're going to try to keep our code clean. And we're going to call this user details screen.dart. And we're going to import material. I know that. Material. We're going to import user so that we have access to the user class. And I think that's honestly all we're going to need. So this is going to be a stateless widget, because we're just going to be showing data. So we're just going to have user details screen extends stateless widget. Missing concrete implementation. Build context, and then okay, so returning null's fine for right now. All right, so now what we want to do is we want to make sure that we're initializing this with the to do, and we want to make sure that's required. So let's go ahead and create the initializer. User details screen, and we're going to have a key. No, hold on, because this is always different. So it's key. Do you love me? What are you writing? Key. No, key, and then a required. Okay, so key, love me, writing, required. Required. So we will definitely need a user object, and we're just going to say this user. So this dot user, and we need to have a final user. And then we need to do that weird thing, the super key. All right, so let's take a look at that. All right, so now that we know that whenever we go to this screen, we're going to be doing this goodness. Also, what I want to do is up here, I want to give it a route name. So we'll say static string route name is equal to I think it's like this: user details screen. like so. So then we can reference it whenever we want to go to the next screen. So now what we need to do is we need to just create, I'm just going to keep it very simple, and I just want to display all the data. So I'm going to create a column, column, and it's just going to have a couple of children, just a couple of text children. So we're just going to have, it's going to be like ID is the user.id, and then we're going to do a comma, and we're just going to have this 3 times. So name and then age. Man, it's a good thing I took a nap today, because holy moly donut shop. All right, and then we just want to make sure that the column is going to be centering everything. So center, let's see, main axis alignment is going to be main axis alignment center, and want to make sure that the cross axis alignment, I still don't know if this works how I think it does. Cross axis alignment equals stretch. I believe that's all I really want. And then let's see. So that should be good. We don't really need anything more complex than that. We could probably wrap it in padding, but it's fine. It's so basic, right? The entire thing is just passing the data. Create the details screen to display it, navigate and pass data to the details screen. So don't think this is what let's see. Let's view builder text on tap navigator.push context material page route. Interesting. Not sure if I like that better. I kind of like the pushed name. Push named. I had this on my phone actually, so I'm just gonna use the one that was on my phone. Pass arguments to a named route. This is the one I was looking at. So let's see. Si solo usarás un on-tab en lugar de usar un gesture detector para tenerlo. También podías. So, Anthony, I actually don't speak Spanish, or I actually don't read Spanish that well. But I think what you're saying is that the gesture detector, I think you're saying that it should be on the outside in case we want to do something else with the widget, and it shouldn't be part of the list tile, but I can't be sure if that's what you're saying, honestly. But yeah. Register routes in the table. Well, what's the difference between this and what I was looking at? So When you do it like this, you don't have to define a route. Material page route. And I want to say that this would actually be more problematic, if anything, than this, because now we're just working directly with classes. And I think I want to go with this now that I think about it. Navigator.push context with some other good stuff in it. Okay, well then let's try it this way, and then if it doesn't work, then we can try something else. So we want to do navigator dot push context, and this is the part where we create a material page route. Context and material page route. Material page route. And this is pretty much, we're going to use a builder, and we're going to use the builder context, pass that into creating the thing. Context pass this user details screen. It's going to be a user, and we're going to pass it in the user. No semicolon? Guess not. All right, so let's see if this actually works. It does indeed, but it has all kinds of nastiness attached to it. So it is passing the data, but I forgot that we need to actually wrap this in a scaffold so that it actually does look a little bit nicer. Wrap in a new widget. We're going to say scaffold. And this will no longer be child, but body. And then we're going to have an app bar. And I wonder if we can do context.appbar. Nope, can't do that. So it's okay. App bar. And let me see how I made the other app bar. I just want to see. Let's see, app bar, and we're just going to do the title. Okay, so we're just going to do the title. And what we can do is we can put in here what am I missing? I'm missing something. Oh, it's text. That's what it is. Text, and then we'll do title, and then we'll say we're actually going to use the user's name. So user, lowercase user, come on, Kyle. User.name, usernames, and we want to do an apostrophe. Details. So let's go ahead and go back over here. We're going to debug, run it. Alrighty. It's running. Alrighty. All right. See, it's passing the data. So there's only there's only a little bit more that I want to do. And 1 second, guys. Yeah. All right. There's only one other thing that I want to do, and that's just to make this stuff look a little bit nicer. So I'm gonna just center this, and that's it. I just want to center it. I just don't like that it's all the way hard left. Like that kind of bothers me. But that's okay. All we have to do is just wrap this in a center. So is it part of here? Yeah. That didn't work. Why didn't it work? Let's see. Um, let's see where this is going. Column, color. I don't want a column, I want a container. Container, color, colors, black. That's right. So it's going to have a height of 20. Okay, so then my problem is that the style of each of these is off. So let's just adjust that. Style, text align. Text align. Come on. Dot center. There we go. Okay, so we should be able to add this to each of these. And like this. All right, so now, there we go. So that's all I really needed to do. We could obviously style this if we really wanted to, but I don't really care to. So, because this was like the most important thing. And then we just want to be able to make sure that we can go back and then go to somebody else's information. See that it says Xavier's details, ID number 4, name Xavier, age 1. Oh, I should actually update that. He's 2 today. Mine is still 0. Wife 34. Yep. Okay. So it's looking pretty good. All right. So we got it working. And yeah. That's weird. Hold on. So it's actually calling the init every time, but that's okay. I think that's all right. Let's see. Only other thing that I didn't like was when it first starts up. Excuse me. When it first starts up, we're over here and we're using the circular progress indicator, but it's actually not centered, and I just wanted to fix that. So we're going to refactor this, wrap it in a center widget, save it, Let's stop it. Probably shouldn't have stopped it. I just needed to restart it, but that's okay. Wow, Raul, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. It means a lot. Um, yeah. Wow. Thank you. Is it because I had sweet success? Cannot build the application. So this happens sometimes. And if you don't know how to fix it, where you're running your code and it's not building for your thing, all it, all it's really the only real problem is just that you might need to delete your build folder. So if you just go over to the terminal and you say rm, which is remove dash r recursively, and you pass in the build folder, this will completely remove that folder from your project. And then when you run it again, what will happen is it's going to actually be able to build for whatever reason. Now I don't know. I think from my understanding that this is a bug. Like you shouldn't have, well, you definitely shouldn't have to destroy the build in order to get it to work. I'm not sure if it's something that I'm actually doing that's causing this, but I believe it's actually just a bug in Flutter, and I'm not sure if or when or how they're going to fix this. But yeah, thank you so much again, Raul. I really appreciate it so much. It means a lot. Thank you. Um, what's going on, Vishnu? So as you can see, Vishnu, I actually started doing all the things that we did the other day, but I was able to do it from scratch again, and I got it going pretty in a relatively quick time. It still took like an hour to do. Oh, see, it was in the center. Perfect. Um, it was, still took a little bit of time, but it worked out. So now we're getting the data. We're presenting it. We're going to the next screen. The only thing that I don't like is that it's getting the data back every time. So init state is actually being called every time we go back. And I don't know if there's a better place to put this where it only calls it once, and then we would just, yeah, we would only call it once. But it's not the worst thing in the world, because every time we come back here, then at least we would have the most current data. But it is something that I just don't really like 100%. So yeah. Cool, man. Cool, man. We'll get you some bucks for coffee for your effort. Thanks, Vishnu. Or not Vishnu. Thanks, Raul. Yeah, this is awesome. I really appreciate it. Um Raul's the one I said thanks, Vishnu, but it's really Raul. But yeah, so this is like the second ever super chat donation I've ever got. The first one was the other day, which I'm super grateful to. But yeah, it's really making me happy that like I'm providing you guys with content like that. You feel like, hey, this is decent enough content to where, you know what, he works hard. I'm gonna toss him a couple of bucks or whatever. So it really makes me feel good that you guys believe in me like that. Thank you so much. But yeah, this is all I really wanted to accomplish. I learned how to do it. I'm getting more comfortable with the networking stuff. The I need to extract this into a networking class to where I would make it a little bit more generic. But other than that, it's working pretty good, and I like it a lot. So I'm getting better at networking. It still takes a while to set up a view. I could definitely do this in iOS way quicker, and I'm not sure if it's because of the years of experience, but I feel like there's a lot more code that goes into Flutter when it comes to doing networking. Um, and it's just different with everything. Like every framework or language is always just going to be different in those types of cases. And some just will always stay long, and that's just how it is. Others sometimes are a little bit shorter. But yeah, guys, it's 1:19 here, and it's time for me to go to bed. Yeah, it's 1:19 in the morning, and it's time for me to go to bed. I did what I set out to do, which is pretty good. I'm so happy that you guys came in for the live stream. Let me know if you guys are liking the live streams. And I was honestly thinking about doing Kotlin today, but I was like, no, I still need to download it, and like I have like all the knowledge that I had about Kotlin is like probably just gone. So doing Kotlin and doing anything in Kotlin would have probably been a pain. But yeah, if you guys like these late night live streams, let me know. I may continue them for a long future if you guys are liking them. But I do eventually want to get back to working in the morning, like my mornings, so that it's not like 1 a.m. and still working, because I'm pretty tired. But yeah, that's going to be it for today, guys. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for checking out the code. Make sure you guys go out there and keep coding passionately. Now, what I got to do is I got to take a picture of this for my Instagram, because if you didn't know, I also post a lot of pictures on Instagram, and I try to do one every single day. So let's just get this set up in here. And oh, you guys are going to be on camera. That's cool. So Raul's going to be on camera, and you can actually clearly see the super chat in there. So I love that. I love that you can see the super chat in there. So yeah, awesome stuff. Vishnu said, wait. Well, I'm still here, man. I'm still here for right this second, but I'm about to go. Um, Hold on. I'll wait. I don't know what I'm waiting for, but I'll wait. Um, but I'm really about to go because it's kind of late, and tomorrow is it's Mother's Day in the U.S., and essentially it's just a day to celebrate being with your mom. So I have to wake up early and get everything ready, and I might jump in to my office and work a little bit more in the morning too. So I'm definitely going to be leaving very soon. I want to kind of show myself taking a picture. So meta. Okay. All right. Yeah. So meta. All right. Um for those of you that are still in here, I just want to let you know um if you would like to kind of see like so if you guys would like to follow me on Instagram, because I actually try to put up like decent content. um I try to put up decent content. This is what my Instagram feed looks like. Let me see. Let's see. There we go. So this is what my Instagram feed looks like, and I try to keep it on like circulating around my 100 days of hustle challenge and also around code. But one thing that you'll notice is that each of my posts are like kind of miniature personal blog posts. So I actually kind of write like a personal blog every night or every day or whatever. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, that's that's gonna obviously help me on Instagram. But I kind of give my perspective and what I'm going through. So if you guys kind of just like me for just me, then you could take a look at my Instagram, and then you could kind of see like what I'm going through on a day-to-day basis, because I post daily. But yeah, all right, Vishnu, I gotta really go, man. Sorry that I have to go, But I might be doing another one of these maybe tomorrow night, depending on how much time I get to actually work. Because if I don't get enough time to record a video, then I'm just gonna do one of these live streams, and that's probably when I would give an attempt to do Firestore. So somebody in here was asking about Firestore earlier, and I might try to do Flutter and Firestore. So yeah, but yeah, thanks guys. You guys have a great rest of the day or night, whatever it is for you. Probably day because it's only night here for a couple more hours. But yeah, later. Thanks again. Keep coding passionately. I will catch you guys on the flippity flip. On the flippity flip.